All right, so the reports function in Wisenet allows you to extract information or the data that you've entered into the Wisenet LRM. It also allows you to export it in the format that you require. It could be in Excel, Commercial Value CSV format, PDF, or an XML. Using the reports wizard in the system, you could also create filtered lists. You can customize your reports. You can also do your data integrity check. So today we'll mainly be looking at all these data integrity reports, some basic outcome reports, how you can run some filtered lists on your current enrollments or your cancelled or withdrawn students, their course progression list, as well as your attendance monitoring for our international clients. Now, before I start the presentation, this is just a bit of information about the webinar control panel that's in front of you. So if you have a question during the session, please raise your hand by clicking on that virtual raise hand icon. You can even lower your hand by clicking on the lower hand once you've raised it. Because we have so many participants today, it'll be good if you could just put all your questions into the Q&A tab, and I will get to them towards the end of the session. Now, click on the chat to chat with other participants if you have certain questions that you want to ask. And, you know, of course, all our participants are from various RTOs and higher education organisations today. So if you have any questions and if you want to discuss something, feel free to do so. All right, I've just quickly got a couple of people having some issues here. I'm just going to... All right, Hayley has a bit of an issue with the audio. Can everybody else hear me well? Yep, all good. Hayley, it's just a very isolated issue, so probably just dial in back. Thank you. Awesome, thank you, guys. All right, so in today's webinar, we will be looking at some of these topics here. So I will be introducing you to the reports wizard for people who don't know how to use it. A lot of our clients get confused between reports and view reports. And I'll also be showing you how to use the reports wizard to filter the reports, find the right reports, and also understand the basic and the advanced filters to generate your reports. Most of our clients are on our standard or the premium edition or on our classic editions, which allow you to subscribe to reports. We can email you reports or, you know, the reports that you have filtered. You can also update the data in bulk once you've generated the report. So we will be looking at even just quick features on how you can bulk update your course enrollments or unit enrollments after you've generated the data. Okay, now before I take you into the Wisenet LRM, I just wanted to kind of go through these points, because sometimes when you are looking for the report, you kind of don't know what you're looking for, or you don't know what format you want it. But it's very important to understand these things before you can actually go and start running a report from Wisenet. So you always have to know the purpose of the report. What are you trying to achieve? Are you wanting to run a list of course enrollments or a list of unit enrollments with their outcomes, or are you wanting to run this report to update the data in the system, or even understanding the way you want to filter? Sometimes you are looking for only a certain target group or a certain cohort, which could be funded or fee for service or something of that sort. So it is always important for you to know what is the key data you require and in what type of format you require it in before you can actually go into the reports wizard and start running a report. I'll explain more on these points when we actually go into the Wisenet LRM and we start running a report. We do use certain abbreviations in the system just to make it easier in the drop-down values and the columns that we use, because all our reports are SQL-based, so it gets hard to expand every field when we put it into a layout, because we're restricted by an A4 or an A3 size mostly. So the most common ones that you will see is the COR and the CUOR. So the COR stands for the course offer registration, which means, you have a course offer date, which could be your intake date, so let's say from Jan to December. But when you start enrolling students, if you have a rolling intake, you tend to change the start and end date when you enroll the students. So we call that the course offer registration date, or you may call it as the course enrollment date. So it's called the COR. In the same way, the unit offers linked to the course offer have their own generic dates. And when you put the students into the unit enrollment, if they are, let's say, apprenticeship or traineeship students, you tend to change the unit start and end date and keep it staggered, throughout the entire course. So when you run reports, it's very important for you to filter by the CUOR field instead of the unit offer date. That's what it means. And for clients who do VET student loan or fee help or PIR reporting, higher education, and of course the VET student loan, you will be mostly seeing the UOS and the UOSR, which is very similar to the COR. So the unit of study is what you set up at the course offer level, and the unit of study registration would be at the student level. And the rest of it is like very basic, the date of birth, description, the TFN, and the VET fee help. All right, now some of the clients, thank you very much. You already sent me a list of questions and reports that you wanted me to go over. I've just put in some in here. I've listed it here. So I will be answering all these questions, when we actually go in and start running the reports. All right, now let's go into the Wisenet LRM. Before I start showing you the reports, do you have any questions or any issues? Yeah, I've got a couple questions here. All right, Philip. Yes. So I will be uploading the presentation file as well as the webinar video. It's being recorded onto the the Wisenet.co. I will also be sending out a short survey because you're thinking of redesigning our reports, the entire feature just to make it more user-friendly. So I will even be sending out a short survey after the session. Thank you. All right, awesome. Thanks, Megan. Yep, all good. All right, so let's go ahead. All right, so once you log into, I'm already logged into the LRM, but when you log into Wisenet, this is the page you come onto and you click on LRM and it'll take you into the dashboard. So from this page, to get to the reports wizard, you click on reports at the very top and it'll automatically take you to the reports wizard. Now, as I said, before generating a report, it is important for you to know the purpose. And before I actually go in and generate or find a report, I'm going to just explain the difference between the U reports and the reports for people who don't know the difference between these. So the U reports is a feature that lets you run course enrollment documents for specific students. So if you're trying to run a credential or a letter of offer or a training plan that's kind of run against the specific learner or a list of learners within a course offer. So that's what you use U reports for. But the reports are usually used to, kind of report on large number of student data. It could be like enrollments within a course offer or within the entire qualification, or outcome counts and things like that, so that's what you use the reports for. Now, let's talk about finding the right report. There are several ways to find the right report. You can download our report catalog. It's a CSV file which gives you the entire list of 700 and odd reports with the different fields that are available within these reports. And you can either find by field, find by the name, the number, could be any of these. So there are 5 different ways of finding the right report that will suit your need. So once you know the purpose, I'm going to just take an example here because I've already got some questions sent by some of our clients. So, the basic report that you want to run is finding the number of enrollments you've got in a financial year. So what you do is click on reports. Because you already know the purpose, you're finding the list of enrollments. So you would just go in, put in a keyword called enrollment and enter. So this will kind of filter the entire list of reports with all the enrollment reports. Then the next thing to do is click into the report and read the report description. So this will list all the client enrollments within each course offer. That's mainly what you require. Now, if you don't want the names of the students, you want just count, then I would put in a keyword called enrollment and count. That's another way of finding the report. Now, if you don't know any of these details, you just want to report on a particular field, for example, USI, then all you do is click on reports. I would just search by field, put in USI. So it'll just pick up all those reports with USI as a field in it. All right. And sometimes you don't know even the field name. The best thing to do is go into that page, copy and paste the field. If there are multiple fields that you're looking for, then just put a comma and keep adding the different fields. And the system will automatically pick up the report that has a combination of those fields. And once you find the report that will work for you and for your purpose, then just remember the report number. So the next time you come into reports, all you have to do is just type in the number there. And it will filter the list automatically with just that report. Click into the report. Now let's talk about filters, and then I'll come back into subscribing to the report. Now with the filters, most of our clients make the mistake of just choosing the date range without choosing a criteria for it to filter by date range. So if you just choose a date range, let's say last year, it's not going to filter because it doesn't know what criteria it should be looking at for it to filter by last year. So the first thing you do is choose from the first drop down, what's the criteria? So I'm going to take an example. Let's say I want to look at all the students who started their course, which is the course enrollment, course offer registration, which is the COR start date this year. Or if it's a financial year, then you would go custom and choose, let's say, 1st of June 2016 until the 1st of July 2016, okay, until the 30th of June 2017. So you can put in custom dates. Then we'll talk about the basic criteria. In the basic filters, these are the fields that are going to be in the report that you're running, all right? You can filter by any of these fields. If you're trying to run the report for just an individual student, then you will be filtering by the student's first name, last name, or the date of birth, or their reference numbers. But if you're doing it by a generic USI status or an enrollment status, let's say, you're looking for only students who started within this time period who are still current. So you would just go COI enrollment status current. And you could have a combination of filters. So in the last drop down, you go and you can add another filter. So you may be looking at just students who have enrolled from China, for example. Or it could be, students who have started their course in a particular qualification. You can put in a course code or a course description or a particular intake or a contract. It could be just all fee for service or all smart and skilled or all user choice students. So it could be a combination of these things. And we also have certain counts, Sometimes people do enroll students into the courses, but don't add the units until they've confirmed their enrollment or they've attended the orientation or something like that. So you could run a report to show all the students who have been changed to a current status, but with no unit count, So you can say the total unit count equals like 0. So they've not been added into units. And then what you do is choose the output. When you download as an Excel, it gives you the raw data. So it gives it to you in a comma-separated value in an Excel spreadsheet. But if you don't want the raw data, you want it in a layout, you can click on Preview Report. I may not get any information because it's just a demo database. Oh, there we go. That's good. So we have current students who started in that time period without any units. And you can see that they've already kind of, completed the course. They're still current. They've not been put into any units, and they're not haven't completed any units. So you can go back and work with this list from within this course offer. So when you preview the report, as you can see, it's put into a very nice layout for you. It's not like a spreadsheet report. But even after you're running it to the layout, you can choose a particular format to export it in. So you can still choose Excel, but when you get the layout report as an Excel, it'll keep all those lines and stuff. So I'm going to show you what's the difference between downloading it as an Excel in step 6 and then previewing the report and then running it to an Excel. So this is how it will look. It's all already formatted, so it's really hard for you to add any filters to it because, as you can see, when you export it, Excel kind of, merges all these columns for you, which would make it very difficult to actually filter this way. But in the previous step, if you download as Excel, it gives it to you in this format, which is far easier to filter. See, it is a comma-separated value format, but it puts it into the columns for you. So it just depends on how you want to work with the data once you've generated the file. And, when you're sending some data to, let's say, the finance team or your compliance team for follow-ups, then you might want to just set it in a PDF, so it puts it into a nice layout. They know what is the course offer they're looking at, so they can actually go back, send bulk emails to the students, or even bulk update their course enrollment values or the unit enrollment values, or even like bulk add them into units in this case, so it's easier for them to work with the data. Hope this process is making sense. Do you have any questions? I'm just going to pause for a quick sec here. If you have any questions. Awesome. All right, so now I'm going to take another example here. So I'm just going to go back into the reports. Now let's look at, running probably a USR report. So it's a very commonly used report. I will be going through even the outcome reports, but let's do the USR, and I will do the client, the course enrollment, and then go into the unit enrollment and the advanced reports. Now with the, oops, got a quick question there. Rennie, what if you need all the data in the report without filtering? Okay, up to you. Like, don't put anything in step 4 or the step 5. Just directly click on, download to Excel, and that's going to give you the entire list of students in your database, so you don't have to add any filters. Now, be very mindful of the number of, fields that you're reporting on, because the 0001 is a very powerful report and it has a lot of fields. And if you're running it for like, I don't know, 5,000 students, Excel might restrict it, it can tell you like, the columns are not enough. In that case, it's good to probably run the report, with the date filter of students starting from 15 to 17 or like something of that sort, so just be mindful of that. But otherwise, you can run reports without any filters as well. Gaurav, so 0001, can we get a list of all active students for a particular course after filtered on the basis? I didn't get the entire question, Gaurav. If you want to just unmute your mic and talk to me, I'm happy to answer that question. Just only got half of your question here. But yes, the 0001 is a good report to get a list of all your active students. It also depends on what you mean by active. Do you mean by, enrollment status being current or active? Because there are two different things in the system. Just to explain that a little bit more, if you go into a learner profile, you can make the client active or inactive. So in this case, you're making the profile itself active or inactive, but that doesn't mean that, they're active or inactive in the course, So if you're looking at a course enrollment list, you're better off filtering by the enrollment status. Hope that makes sense, but yeah, 0001 is a good report. All right, let's go ahead. So we were talking about the USI, or it could be anything, it could be a Louis number or an NSN for New Zealand, so any of these numbers, So the student numbers report is a good way. And as I said, I always like filtering the reports by a key term. I do know the numbers, I can give you the number, but, just to get you into the habit of finding the reports by the key field or the keyword, just search by the number, and then you can, of course, get the right report in here. So we'll look at the student numbers report. And this time I'm going to use an advanced criteria. So we're going to put in a date range. I'm going to say, all right, I want to pick up all the students with a USI last status date. So as you know, the USI kind of works every 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, it's checking, verifying those USIs if they are correct or incorrect. Now, Ranita, probably going back to your question, if you don't want to add this filter, you can even leave it blank. You don't need to have anything in here, right? I'm just only adding this, so my list is not too big and I can quickly show you, the report. Now, in select your criteria, I'm going to switch on the advanced. So when you go to the advanced filtering criteria, it gives you the option of where and having. The difference between these logic hooks is you can say, you want to pick up a list of students where their enrollment status is current or their enrollment status is completed. So with the advanced criteria, you can use an and or an or. With the basic, you could only use an and. The difference is you can add the same criteria multiple times in advanced, but you can't do that in basic. So I'm going to take the same example here. Now, because this is a client student number report, the enrollment status may or may not be important for you. You may be only interested if the student has a USI or not. So you can go, all right, client USI is empty. So it's picking up all the students without a USI. Or you could have the client USI has a certain value in it. So that's the difference with the advanced. You can add multiple logics for the same field. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, client USI is empty and probably, the enrollment status is current. Because you know that if they're doing an accredited training, they definitely require a USI. And then you can add, because it came into effect only after 2014, you can tell the system only pick up enrollments with an end date greater than 2014, if required. But having is not very important there. And you go preview report. It'll automatically pick up those students. So I'm just going to get it to PDF. So with the PDF, because we format the reports to fit into an A4, if it is a very long report, it wouldn't fit into the A4 in PDF, so it'll put it into different pages, which may not be the best way to run a report like this. So any kind of a list report, I would prefer you to run it as an Excel or download it as an Excel at step number 6. All right, so this is the difference, when it comes to a layout and like a CSV report. So let me go back and run it as an Excel just to show you what data comes out of it. Okay, so you can scroll and it'll tell you what has happened. So it has checked on all these dates and there are no USIs for these students. So you can go back and update the details for these set of students. Now with the same report, I'm going to add a different set of criteria. In this case, I'm going to say, all right, I want to pick up anybody with the USI status reason of date of birth invalid or a last name invalid. Or it could be just a status containing invalid. So I'm just showing you a combination of filters that you can use in here. So it could be like client USI last status contains invalid or client USI is empty. So it's going to pick up both for you, students who don't have a USI as well as students who have invalid USIs. So to the same report, you can add multiple criteria. Great. Any questions? Okay, great. I've got your list of questions here. Now, the next report that I'm going to go over with is I think you wanted to know, I can't remember the client's name, I'm sorry, but you do a lot of refresher training. So you do short courses like first aid and CPR and all that. So you wanted to run a report to show students with certain expiry dates. So again, we have specific expiry date reports. So just click on reports and put an expiry in the name and it'll pick up the course expiry and the unit expiry date report. Depending on the expiry date field that you're using, is it at the course enrollment level or the unit enrollment level, you just have to run the appropriate report. And the filtering criteria are the same. Great. I'm going to quickly go into the unit enrollment reports. So the best report to run for this would be like a matrix report, so click on the name again and put in the keyword as matrix. So it picks up all our matrix reports, so it could be like an outcome report or a class attendance, or it could be an element report that you're looking for. With the matrix report, what happens is, you have multiple fields available with multiple criteria available to you that you can filter on. So I'm going to run the, the outcome report here. I'm going to subscribe to this report, just introducing you to a new feature. When you subscribe to this report, it'll ask you how do you want the date range to be in the filters. As you can see, you can't have like a custom one because it's a report that's going to run weekly or monthly depending on your criteria. So we're going to tell the system, all right, I want to pick up all the students with a course enrollment end date in this month. And with the criteria, where I'm going to choose the advanced criteria. So when you add the same options multiple times, you just have to group them with the brackets. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get the list of students who have an outcome of 20, 60, or 51, and with an enrollment status of current. All right. So I'm going to go outcome code contains 20 or outcome code contains 51, or the outcome code contains a 60. So the student could be competent and RPL or a credit transfer. So it gives you the completed students. So what I'm going to do now is also pick up students who still have the enrollment status of current. Now, even though I've put in all my criteria here, the system's not going to know that these three filters are in the same group. So what you have to do is when you use the same filtering criteria multiple times, tick the criteria and group them by using these small brackets. And you can group any of the criteria. So you could have like an enrollment status of current or something else, and then you can group even the enrollment status in here. Then you go preview report. So this will give you the list of students by course offer, the start and end date, the status, the workplace, as well as the units with the outcomes that we have chosen. With the criteria of unit outcome codes empty. So it's going to give me the list of students who are ending this month without any outcome codes. So this is just a way of checking your data to make sure like all your students are finishing on the appropriate dates, and you're keeping on top of all your enrollments. And because you've subscribed to this report, when you preview the report, it'll give you the option to add a subscription at the very top. So again, as I said in this report, with the matrix kind of a style, it gives you the name, the reg start and end date, the status, any workplace if they're linked to a workplace, and the unit of competencies that don't have an outcome. So they're all finishing the course this month without any outcomes for any of their units. So when you subscribe to this report, put in your email address. If you're sending it out to a different third party, let's say a workplace or a trainer or an agent, then always put a reply to address, because by default it goes as a do not reply. So if you put a reply to, if they have any questions about the reports, they can click reply and it will be sent to your inbox. You can even blind copy yourself or add any other staff members. Even in the to address, you can have multiple addresses, just put in a semicolon and keep adding the different addresses as required. The rendering format, what format you require it in, whether it's a PDF or an Excel. Again, as I said, be mindful, of what kind of a report you're running. If it's a layout report, PDF works great. But if it's a list, then choose Excel. In the comment, just put in what are the filtering criteria you've used, because in a year's time, you may forget, how the report is getting filtered. You can say like, all students ending this month with no outcomes. And then you create a pattern. So when you click on create, you'll be able to put in a start and end time. So let's say you want it at 9 o'clock every month, first week on the Monday. So every month on the first week of the Monday, it's going to just generate this report with all the students ending in that particular month with no outcomes and email you the report. And you can subscribe to any reports. It doesn't have to be just the outcome report, could be anything that you require. And if it's a type of a report that you want it exactly on a particular calendar day, instead of choosing the week of the month and the day of the week, you can just click on a calendar day and go, all right, I want it on the 20th. So you know your intakes better, so you know when you're going to update these outcomes. So accordingly, you can put in the calendar days. And if it's a report you feel that you're subscribing it to a trainer who's on like a casual contract, so they're going to be here only for the next 6 months, you can also say, all right, I want to start it from today, but I want to end it after by a particular date, or say after like 6 occurrences. So it'll set it the next 6 months and then stop automatically. So it's very similar to your Outlook meeting records tool, you know. So if you've used that, you'll know how to use this feature. But it's very basic, and yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to call me after the webinar. I'm happy to take you through this feature again one-on-one, depending on what you want to achieve. And once you add it to the subscription, let's say this is what is the pattern that we require. So on the 20th of every month, starting from today, ending on that date, it's going to add to the subscription. And next month you want to come back and you want to change it. All you have to do is come back into the reports wizard and click on Subscriptions Manager on the left. All right. And you can pick up the subscriptions that you've added, and you can edit it, delete it, add a different person, like you can put in a different email address and all those different things within the Subscriptions Manager. You can also see, like, you know, when it's going to next run it, when was the last run, who it's going to send it to. You can click on the particular report. You can go action, edit, delete, or even refresh just to see if it's, you know, run for today or anything. Cool. Any questions with this feature? All right, I've got a list of questions. Let me just cover these. So, so you want to run a list of current students on basis of their trainers. Okay. I'm going to just show you how to run combination reports. That was a good question, because I didn't have that on my list, so that's good. So, you know, you're looking for an enrollment list by trainer, right? So the keyword is going to be obviously enrollment, but you want to also search by trainer as one of the fields within that report. So what I would be doing is, you know, put a filter by enrollment and also search by field and put a trainer there. So all these reports here will give you, so the 0107, as you can see, is a great report. It gives you like client enrollment group by a unit and by a trainer. So these are some of the ways you can pick up like a combination report, you know, so you can have a keyword as well as like search by fields, and you can have, like, you know, as I said, just put a comma and have extra fields in there. Okay, then I have Rennie. You struggle with timetable reports where it seems to not attach the unit enrollments. Okay. Rennie, our timetables don't link to a course or a unit, you know, so they're very independent features. With the timetables, it's mostly an attendance monitoring tool. Okay. So the only way you can link the, you know, the attendance to a particular unit is by the class dates. So let's say the unit was supposed to start on the 1st of March and end on the 31st of July. If you have classes that have been added within this time period, that's what is going to give you the percentage for that student for that particular unit, you know. So there's no other link that's possible between a unit enrollment and a timetable, if that makes sense. And I'm happy to talk to you one-on-one on this because it is a little tricky. I was anyways going to go into the course progress and attendance monitoring reports. So with the attendance monitoring reports, you know, that we have, I'm just going to put monitor in there. Oops. Probably not the keyword. So let's do a progression then. So with the attendance progression reports, or like, you know, the attendance progress report, what it does is it allows you to put in criteria for class start date. So if it's an English course, for example, if it's an early course, then obviously you're looking for students who started and ended a particular day. When it's a full vet course, then again, you're looking for certain study periods, and the study periods can be added as checklists within the student's record, and it'll pick up or calculate the attendance within that study period. We also have combination reports where it does both attendance and course progress for colleges that are on course progress and attendance monitoring. So it'll pick up all the units that fall within that term and automatically calculate the course progress and the attendance percentage. I'll give you a very basic report, the 0148, because I'm not sure if you have a study period checklist linked to this database that I'm running it on. I'm just going to randomly run it for students who started this year just to show you what it looks like. So I'm running the 0148 report. So any of our course progress or an attendance progress report is going to give you what has the student achieved, and it's all color coded. So it's very easy for you to know whether the student is falling below 50%, are more than 50% of the units not yet commenced or not competent. So you can quickly pick up the students who are falling below the average attendance or course progress that is required. And the good thing is, we do have reports that can even not calculate an RPL or a credit within the course progress monitoring. So these are like, advanced reports that you can definitely run. I will take you into our resource center towards the end of the session just to show you how you can basically, find the right report for the criteria that you want to use. Okay, so Philip wants to know how you can filter for only certain courses. All right, the best way is to add a filter by course code. I'm just going to take the first report here, which is the course of enrollments. And Philip, I will recommend you using the advanced criteria if you have multiple courses that you want to report on, okay? So you would go where the course code contains a certain value, or use the same course code containing a certain value. So it'll pick up like all the students or enrollments within these courses that you're trying to report. All right, so you had another question that, so you want to report only that shows vet course and not ELICOS. If that's the case, instead of you choosing contains, that was the next thing that I was going to show you. With the filtering, logics, if it's difficult for you to add the multiple course codes in here, you can use a logical does not contain. So instead of you adding multiple course codes, you can go like course code does not contain ELICOS. So it picks up everything else but the ELICOS for you. I have another question that says, what if the student name is mismatched? I'm assuming that that's a question related to USI. If that's the case, the system, because we bring back all the error codes and the descriptions from the USI registry itself, you will know what's not matching. Is it the first name or the last name or the date of birth that's not matching with the USI registry? All right. With the unit outcome metrics, we have unit outcomes for funded students, continuing enrollment. What would we use as a filter? Okay. Letitia, I'm just going to answer that question for you quickly. I'm going to run the 217, the outcome matrix report. So with the 217, you can tell the system, all right, I want to pick up only students linked to a particular, it could be a location or a contract type in this case. So you can say, pick up, people. Again, the example that I gave before, if you have too many contracts, I would just go, pick up anything that does not contain fee for service. So it's picking up all your funded students. and you would be adding where the outcome code contains 70, which is for your continuing enrollment. If you do deliver in New South Wales, you may even have some blank outcomes. In that case, you would go to an advanced criteria, and you would go like, pick up anyone with the contract code that does not contain fee for service, and then outcome code contains 70 or 00. That'll be the combination that you would be using. All right, I'm just going to keep the rest of the questions to it. Oh, I'm almost there. That's good. All right, you wanted to know more about the confidence account. All right, so I'll show you the confidence account dictate. It's just the last question I'm going to go over. Selecting a report category be another option as to enter a keyword on selecting the fields. Yeah, absolutely, Hayley. I've just, from the experience that I've had with training my clients, I've seen that, going by the category is a little overwhelming for them because they don't know if the, course enrollment falls under the client category or the course offer category or a combination of these things. So I found it easier when I show them how you can filter by the description or the field. But yeah, nothing is stopping you from going by the category. If you're used to that process, go for it. You can definitely selected by the category. And as I said, once you download our report catalog, you will see all these 5 different ways of finding the right report. Could be by a category, by the number, by the name, or a combination of fields, or just by going to the catalog. So it's totally up to you what works for you as a process. All right, I've not touched anything on the workplaces or an agent. I did a little bit on the trainer, but they're all very similar. So if you go into the reports, again, put in a keyword by, enrollment or outcome or even revenue. Some of our Queensland clients like our revenue reports, which kind of calculates the revenue that you're expecting, with a funded course or an apprenticeship program or anything. And you can definitely, all these reports will definitely have a workplace. But as I said, you can have a combination of things. You can put in the search by field as a workplace. And with our international clients, our agent reports are very popular. So just put in agent and you'll get like a list of reports. We have agent payment reports as well as the commission reports. The difference between these is with the commission reports, it's going to calculate the commission that you have to pay to the agent. In some cases, the agents already take their commission and then pay you the rest of the course fees or whatever they owe you. So in that case, you would be running like an agent payment report for you to know what they need to pay you back so you can raise an invoice or something. Great. So I've kind of gone over the things that I had in my list. The only other thing that I wanted to show you is our resources. So when you go into your profiles and click on the resource center, or go into help and look for articles, you can either browse by a feature or just, search for, let's say, reports. It'll pick up all articles from within our Learn resources on how to find the right report or getting started with reports, attendance reports and roles, etc. So if you just go into how to find the right report, it gives you some tips and tricks on the 5 different ways that we spoke about before in terms of using the catalog or the category number, name or the field, as well as, just checking how to use the filters. Now, you can also go into kind of the main page of the reports and look at how to subscribe or bulk update or generate a report. And when you go into our internal Wisenet reports page, it also gives you the different categories and how or what reports would help you kind of generate the right data that you're looking for. So we've just kind of come up with certain report numbers here for you depending on the scenario that you're looking at. So if you have any questions I'm happy to answer. I'm just going to stay back for like, 10 to 15 minutes just to answer some questions for you. Yeah, put it into the chat or the Q&A box for me. Thank you. All right, guys, you've been great today. Thank you so much for coming along. Resources, yeah, have a look at it, share it with your other colleagues, and yeah, feel free to call us at any time or put in a ticket. Always happy to help. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day.